Hello, Taylor County. I'm Alex Renneman here again, and now I'm with Teresa Stevens-Fast, who's running for the City Council, Ward 3. Teresa, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Hey, why don't we start off, just tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Teresa Stevens-Fast. I'm a native of Grafton. I graduated in 1975 from Grafton High School. I started my college career at Fairmont State and WVU, but then I ended up graduating at the University of Akron in radiology. I have worked in all major hospitals in Northeast Ohio, and after retiring from the Cleveland Clinic, I decided to move back to my hometown in Grafton, West Virginia.
Great. Hey, I think people have a general feel for what the City Council is, but from your perspective, or in your own words, what does a City Council person do, and what is the City Council's function in the city?
Well, I think that it's important for a council member to listen to the people of their ward and understand their ideas and try to implement the sound ideas for the betterment of the city.
So you went through some of your history there, but can you tell me, share with us something, an experience or a challenge or some role you've played in the past that you feel has equipped you to be an effective leader in our city?
Well, with my discipline in working in radiology and in the field of medicine, I feel like that I've implemented a lot of quality leadership roles, and I think that I can bring a lot of my knowledge from living in other cities to here to maybe better Grafton and try to come up with good ideas, sound ideas that people would want to implement and try to clean Grafton up and try to make Grafton a better place.
Sure. So if you were elected, what would be your number one priority heading now?
I think, first of all, like I've said before, is listening to the people in my ward, trying to figure out, what they need, what they want, what's important to them. One of the major goals for me is to try to figure out a safe city for our students and our elderly, and to make sure our schools are safe, and to make sure that, if there's any kind of problems down the road, that we're ready to handle them, whether it would be with the EMS, with the hospital, with whoever might be involved, the police, fire department, and all work together in order to be ready for any kind of disaster that could happen in this area.
Anywhere, right?
Yes.
So playing that forward a little bit. So after your term or multiple terms or whatever you want in this vision, what would you like for your legacy to be as a council member?
I think I would like people to realize that I've worked for them, I've listened to them, I've tried to implement their ideas, I've tried to put a little stamp on the city to make it a better place, to make it a place where people would want to come and live. And even if they have to work outside the city limits or outside Taylor County, this is home. They want to come back to their little area of refuge. So,
what do you see are our biggest challenges here in the city?
Our biggest challenges is trying to stay within our city budget. I think it's important for us to realize that we're an aging group. We need to be ready to help the elderly. We need to be able to have housing that will let the lower income live in a safe place. I think that we need to have accessibility downtown for the handicap. I really think that there's a lot of things we could work on. I think getting rid of the houses, the structures that are not sound, is a positive direction that the council is going in, and I would love to work with them on that project.
One thing I think we all know we're facing, and every city in the nation is facing, and us maybe we're ahead of the curve in a way we don't want to be, but that's the opioid addiction. From a city's perspective, what do you think? What's your vision for how we can help eliminate that, or at least reduce that, and improve our community here?
I think trying to have the mental health facility that the health department is allocating, or wanting, is a positive direction. I think we definitely need that. I think we need to look at the addiction rate here, and I see the problems that come into Grafton City Hospital on a regular basis, and I think that we know where the problem lies. We just have to go after it. We need to be aggressive. We need to understand that it's not going to be an overnight fix, but we need to start. And I think that the county and I think the city are working on things, but I think that you do have to be aggressive in that field. I think you really have to understand that there's repeat offenders, and you got to go after the repeat offenders, So
It's a tough challenge.
It is.
It's everybody's challenge.
It is.
So as you know, we polled the community for questions and things that
Yes.
they wanted to know for each office. And the city council was we had a lot of questions on those. But I think you touched on this earlier, the concept of revitalizing downtown Grafton, and I think the city is by measure what I'm hearing from folks they're pleased with some of the demolition that's occurring and cleaning up some of the houses. But at the same time, there's also the same line of thought of, well, how much are we spending on revitalization or prevention or improvement, rehabilitation? So I guess, can you just give your perspective on kind of how much should we spend tearing down versus preserving versus building? And I know the city obviously has an incentive program out there for facades, which is great. It's newly released. You just saw about that last night. So what's your perspective in that?
Well, I think we have to stay within a budget. And I think that Larry Richmond and Kevin Stead has got their act together. I think they know exactly where we need to be in order to get our projects done. And I'm willing to work with them in order to stay within that budget. But I think that the historical value of Grafton is amazing, with the railroad and with the Mother's Day Shrine, with all the different things that has come, the historical part of Grafton that is really important to the aging generation, and also to like my grandchildren. They're amazed of our history. And I think that if we keep a balance there, and try to decide what is better for our city, we'll be all right. I think we'll come ahead. We'll be all right.
Yeah. You talk about staying within budget, and there's one other item that kept popping up around a bus service in Grafton. And I know there's been attempts at that in the past, and obviously you're not on the council today to know what decisions have been made in the past, but have you investigated it? Do you have any perspective on
I've thought about that quite a bit. I've been approached about that. And honestly, I think, if that would be something that could be implemented, that would be an excellent thing for Grafton, only because I know with my mother, when she was living, and the aging population, they don't drive, a lot of them. And they need to be able to get to UHC. They need to be able to go to their doctor's appointments in Morgantown. They need to maybe go shopping and get away from their the confinement of their home or whatever. And they need someone that would drive them and be safe and make sure that they have the transportation to do the things that they want to do. Whether it's even a ride out to the Senior Citizen Center in order to take part in the bingos or something, I think it would be important, just a little bus service in order to help the elderly and the people that don't have the money to, pay for other services.
So one of the themes that kind of kept coming out, and I don't know whether it's fair or not necessarily, but it certainly was a thread that was in many of the commenters, was this idea of stuck in the past. Now, we talk about a rich history, and I don't think we can leave that behind, but the idea was, from a leadership standpoint, how progressive do you feel you are in terms, you talk about being aggressive on the opioid epidemic and those things. Is your vision, how would you apply that kind of proactive vision? Or would you consider yourself a proactive or progressive visionary, and how would you apply that decision?
For the historical value of Grafton?
Just across the board. I think the sentiment was that maybe all the solutions are almost past tense, stuck in the past type solutions as opposed to looking forward. Now, I'm not sure that's a fair assessment, but that certainly was an overwhelming theme coming from folks.
Yeah. Well, I think that if you're going to compare apples to apples, you got to look and see, what the budget was like, what was facing the council for different things. You can't just compare what they had to face to what they face today. And so with not being on the council, I would want to try to look at that once I'm in there and see exactly where the balance is. You know, I think that it's important for us, like I said, in order to help remember our past, we have to be able to build on it. So
if you sit back and you look at your vision for what Grafton should be, what does that vision look like?
Well, I'm adamant about, I call it the Clean Plate Award. I think that we should clean up Grafton. I think that there's just a little bit of things that we can do by recycling and being able to, you know, pick up our trash, maybe put a coat of paint on something, tear down the old structures, help with, you know, maybe painting the curb before Memorial Day, just to clean up Grafton in order to make people say, wow, this is a really nice little town and we really want to live here. And I just think that if we all work together, we can accomplish that.
Great. Well, as is customary with this program, we offer you at the end to go ahead and tell the voters of Taylor County, of Grafton City, and Ward 3 specifically, what you'd like to say.
Well, in closing, I would really like to say that by listening and learning and implementing sound ideas from the people of Grafton and Ward 3, I would like to be a city council member, and I would like to work with the council members in order to make Grafton a wonderful place to live. It is now, but it could even be better. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Stevens Fast, City Council Ward 3. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thanks.